For this week's track battle, we've got two cracking small hot hatches in the shape of Renaultsport's Clio 200 Turbo and Vauxhall's Corsa VXR Clubsport. With 200 horsepower apiece and both weighing around 1,200 kilos, it's going to be really tight, and with track cone suspension, both promise to shine here at Bedford Autodrome. Which gives the most fun and which is quickest? Let's find out. So we're in the Clio 200 Turbo, and I think it's fair to say we've given this car quite a hard time. This is actually our fast fleet long-term test car, so we've lived with it for the best part of 15,000 miles now. And as a road car, there's some great aspects to it, but it's just not as exciting as the older, normally aspirated manual Clios used to be. This has got the double clutch transmission. It's got a 1.6 litre 4-cylinder turbo engine, just under 200 horsepower, 200 PS in Euro speak, and it's just a smidge over 1,200 kilos. So it's quite a nice package, and if it's going to shine anywhere, I think it's safe to say it's going to come together on a track, or so you'd hope. Straight away, it feels more playful than it ever does on the road. On the road, it's dominated by grip. On the track, it seems to be a bit more up for some fun, and you can load the front more and therefore unload the rear and try and get it to do some hot hatchy type stuff. That really annoying beep you hear every now and again is the transmission telling me to change gear. See, that is pretty playful. The engine is sort of dominated by its power delivery, or its torque delivery, should I say. It's quite linear. It doesn't really have proper top end fizz. It just kind of runs out of puff. And even in the most aggressive mode, we've got this in race Renault Sport mode, so the ESC is off, the gear shift is at its quickest, but it's still a bit lethargic and reluctant to really give you a snappy shift. And that just still, I mean, we're carrying good speed, but it's not an exciting or particularly involving car. But the chassis is really the balance of grip front to rear. It's not got a proper mechanical diff. It's got, and I think that it has to spin the wheels before it can control the wheel spin, or at least that's how it feels, and that makes for quite a scrabbly experience out of these tighter corners. I should say the track is, as ever here, is patchy damp, so it's not consistent for the whole lap. But in a way, that's quite a nice test of this car's ability to put its power and torque down. You can probably hear the revs rise and fall into this. You can take some pretty big liberties with it. Okay, so we're going to concentrate, try not to slide around too much, and see what kind of a lap time we can get this Clio to do. It's not the most exciting engine, it has to be said, and it's kind of effective, but it just suffers from traction again. And it's going to beep, and I have to change gear as it beeps because it's reluctant. It just doesn't change gear when you want it to, which is massively annoying. It's pretty good through there. Direction change is good, but it's not going that quick, you know. Brakes feel good, good firm pedal. Initial bite is good, and it's stable as well, which is what you want, because you want to be able to turn in and brake at the same time. real problem with this car, as on the road, is this gearbox. It's just infuriating. Again, struggling a little bit with traction. It'll be interesting to see how the Corsa does with a mechanical diff. It's good through the fast corners. It is really good through the fast corners. Last corner. Let's see what time we've done.
The Clio's handling balance is fun and exploitable, but the flat power delivery, frustrating gearbox and lack of traction take the shine off the experience. Its track time of 1 minute 33.6 looks eminently beatable.
Right, so we've jumped out of the Clio and we've jumped into the Corsa VXR Clubsport. And it's, for some strange reason, I think these VXR Corsas always get overlooked in the small hot hatch sector of the market, and it's a little bit unfair. I think the car looks good. I think the package is every bit, in fact it's probably more impressive than the Clio. It's got a 1.6 litre 4-cylinder turbo engine with a little bit more power, 205 PS, so probably around 200 horsepower smack on the nose, and it's got a little bit more torque as well, 250 newton meters, so 180 something foot-pounds, which again is a handful more than the Clio's got. It's a little bit heavier, but still not too bad, 24 kilos I think the curb weight is. So they're, in round terms, they're very evenly matched. The biggest difference being, you can't hear that infuriating gear shift beeper, which means it's got a stick and a clutch, which I think is infinitely preferable when you compare it to the Clios, because it's not a very good box. This car also has a mechanical limited slip diff, and you can feel it straight away. It has much cleaner traction, it pulls itself through the corners in a much tidier and more positive way. It's just a better driving tool. You need to drive it more, and you have more influence over what it does, good and bad. But that's what it's all about, isn't it? The only downside I can find is you can't fully disengage the ESP. So whilst it doesn't rely on it because of the diff, it does mean, seemingly, I mean, this is our fun laps, and it's very hard to make it do anything other than grip and go, which bodes well for the lap times. But we did manage to uncover some fun in the Clio. It's much more willing to wag its tail, and you can just be more aggressive with it. This car feels quicker. I'll probably be proved wrong, I usually am, but it just feels more direct and more built for track work, actually. So we'll give it a bung into this corner one more time. It's very neutral. Right, so we'll give up trying to throw this Corsa around and make it do silly things, and we'll concentrate on what it clearly wants to do, which is achieve a good lap time. So over this last corner, and already it has a bit more urgency, and it just puts the torque and power into the tarmac much more cleanly, even out of this hairpin. The brakes don't have the same reassurance that the Clio does, despite those big, beefy looking Brembo calipers at the front, which is a little bit disappointing. The pedal's just a bit soft, but this is a really good test of traction all the way through third gear, so up to about 80 miles an hour, and it just has such clean traction, and that, I think, means you're approaching this chicane significantly faster. It really does feel, brakes aside, like it's enjoying being driven on track. It's not reluctant like the Clio was, and it just punches out of the corners. Whilst it's frustrating that you can't switch the ESP off, you're not actually feeling it intervene at all through here if you're neat on turning, because this diff is so effective. It's really got good balance as well. From the second to last corner, staying fourth, trying to get on the power. Yeah, that's really impressive. Across the line.
It might not be the most exuberant handler, but the VXR Clubsport is very effective. It's quick too, finding traction where the Clio scrabbles to post an impressive 1 minute 31.2. Vauxhall wins.